Hi, everyone. We're talking about now, the presence of now, and the self that would take itself out of this now and into all sorts of scenarios and futures. And we're going to look today specifically about planning and how that fits into that, because there's maybe a little bit of a misunderstanding that this conversation, or any conversation that is a power of nourish or presence or being in the moment, excludes any idea of doing anything that would plan something or create something for the future. And no, not at all, not at all. And we're going to look at why that is. What we're seeing is that any action that arises is coming from whatever is making sense right now. And that's the bottom line. The action will be happening according to the program that is running on whatever version of reality we've got going on. So the action is always going to be right for that reality. And there's nothing that the self can do about that. It can't intervene because itself is just a concept. It can't do anything. It's not there, really. It's an illusion. It's not an agent. And so that there will be actions that will involve, all the time there'll be actions that involve an element of future involved. So there'll be anything from like shopping for a meal for that evening, to planning something to do on the weekend, to thinking about a birthday, to planning a holiday, to designing a building that won't come into existence for 15 years, to planning a pension. All these things arise to do and are done. And that's just the way of it. That's just how things are. Things arise to do, they get done. Now, what we're looking at is the overlay of the self that is trying to secure itself in an imagined future. It's totally different. So, it might make sense to put money away for a pension, or it might make sense to plan a holiday. There's an ease to it because the basis of it, the essence of it, is free of the imagined horror film of trying to secure the self. It's just what's coming to do. There's no projected reality involved, but the self that has this idea of a future in which it's vulnerable, in which it's suffering, in which it might not have all the things it's accustomed to. There'll be elements of different films and scenarios and conditioned thinking coming in, and there'll be tremendous suffering in that, because there'll be an attempt to secure itself, an attempt to get rid of the suffering, and it can't, because it's trying to find a solution for an imagined film. It's totally different. I hope I'm explaining this well enough. That there's just the two things are, there's just this arising within reality of stuff to do or to say, which might well involve future times. There's just an easy flow, a natural arising of events coming in and then a response and then bam. And ease, that is, there's no confusion in that whatsoever. The confusion is in trying to secure an idea of self by finding a solution to an imagined future horror film. Impossible, literally impossible, because none of those elements are real. There's no self that can actually be secured. The imagined future is imagination. Any solution to that will be trumped by another scary thought coming in. So there's nothing stable in any of it. It's a real thriving place for the insecure self to buzz around in absolute imagination that looks real. And this is a huge difference. And so the belief, oh, I should just be present, I shouldn't think about doing anything in the future, that's not it. That will happen. That will happen all the time. That's human life. That will happen. But the attempt to secure imagination, to fix imagination, to make imagination safe again, is unfulfillable. So that's the big difference. We can absolutely be present and in the now, working on or planning things for the future. That there's absolute presence involved in that. And then the imagination, we're just gonna let that get on with itself, and we'll see, it will reveal itself to be not true, not real, not relevant, nothing ultimately. Okay, all right, big love, thank you.